Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Andrew Lacey. It's April the 6th, 2026. And how was your first quarter? Let me ask you again. How was your first quarter? Well, today I want to focus on about 10 points about your attitude and your mindset. Because normally it's your attitude and mindset that keeps you from being more successful. The other thing is your skills and your ability. And we'll talk about that a little bit, hopefully towards the end of the call. You know, I have some amazing people with skills and ability and dialogue and negotiating skills, appointments, able to get appointments each day. How can they do it and you're not doing it? Well, probably you're not following the program the way it's written. So I want you to think about that today. I was going to start with how much success that you're having, but I'm actually going to start with your attitude and your mindset. And the first one is,
every day you have the option of doing
every day you have the option of doing something or nothing. That's what this program's about. Every day you have the opportunity to make 10 to 20,000. Now, if you've never met me, you've never seen me, you've never been in my program, you don't understand that I have written a program that gives you the opportunity to make $10,000 to $20,000 a day. And if you don't believe it, stay on the call and I'll prove it to you at the end. You know, everyone has a slump. Everyone gets in slumps except for me. I never get in a slump because every day's a great day. Even if I had a bad day the day before, when I get out of bed every morning, it's going to be a great day. Someone needs my help today. I'm the best person to help someone today. Could you adopt that? Could you make that part of who you were? You'd have less slumps. Next.
Everybody struggles.
Everyone struggles with their schedule. Even my top producers. The key is not to lose control between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. The money-making time, the new generating income. You know, this morning I've had somebody who's already gotten 3 appointments. Some agents won't get 3 appointments this year because, number one, they're not doing the right things. They don't have the right way to build a business. You know, there's millions of agents in real estate, but there's millions of agents that fail or have failed over the last 30 years of my training. And you know why? Because they wanted it to do it their way instead of the Lacey way. They wanted to do it their time and not on the time that they're supposed to do the things that generate business each day. So if you've never seen me and you hear me say that you have an opportunity to make $10,000 to $20,000 a day. Marie, are you on the call this morning? I'm just pulling this out of the hat. This is not rehearsed. Marie?
Good morning.
Marie, you prospect this morning so far?
Yes.
Okay. How many dials have you made?
64.
64 dials. How many contacts?
4.
4 contacts. How many appointments?
2. And a callback already as well. 3.
3 appointments. Okay. Now, what do you know the price of those appointments?
I do. It's $350.
350.
210.
Okay. Wait a minute. 350 and 210. 350 and 210 is 560.
And then 225.
560, 650, 660, 675. So 700,000, and for classrooms purposes, times 3% is $21,000. So you have the opportunity this morning to go out and get 3 new listings that would generate $21,000. Bam! You know, it's not rocket science. It's the Lacey way of simplifying your business and your life to have a productive business. You know, you can either be proactive and come in and do things that are proactive, or you can be like I did for 8 years and be passive and sit around and do nothing. Let me tell you, be busy getting nothing back. I was busy for 8 years. Well, what did I make? Less than 50,000, because the activities that I did each day did not generate income. It's when I changed the activities that I did, when I started following a daily schedule, when I started following the standards of how to run my business, then I made $1 million. There's a lot of difference between $50,000 a year and $1 million a year, guys. It's called like $950,000 because I was willing to change. I was willing to come to work. I was willing to get better. I was willing to do a little bit more. Next. Thank you.
Everybody needs to be reminded.
To go to work. Everyone needs to be reminded to go to work. That's why I do a coach call every morning, to remind you to get up and go to work. I love that sometimes on Friday, doing a coaching call, someone will call me around 12 noon and say, you know, Coach, I wasn't going to go to work today, but you inspired me this morning, so I went to work and I got 3 appointments. And those 3 appointments were over $1 million. And times 3% is $30,000 in one day. If they only got 2 out of those, that's $20,000. If they only got 1 of those listings, that's $10,000. It's not hard to make a lot of money in this business if you do the right things. Now, coming in and doing the right things, you just can't come in and do it. You have to have an attitude, your approach, and what you expect. How's your attitude? Is it positive about the day? Is your approach that someone needs my help? Is your expectation they're going to do business with me? I told somebody this morning, I called them early this morning and said, you know, you're prospecting, but you're not expecting to get an appointment. And I said to this person, I said, every morning I say, I'm going to change someone's life. Now, do I change someone's life every day? No. But if every morning I didn't say that, I would never change anyone's life. If you don't say every day I'm going to get an appointment, you're not going to get appointments some days, but you're not going to get any appointments if you don't change your expectations. Next.
Attitude,
approach, and expectations. Just what I was saying. That was the next line, the next thing on the handout. I'm using the handout that I used in the first quarter. This will be the last time I use this handout, because now when I start traveling for my second around to go to Greenville, Atlanta, Palm Beach, Northern Virginia, you know, y'all are blessed that I come to these areas. I don't go anywhere else, but there are more great prospects than I possibly can do business with. I could find enough business just in one city. This is where you operate out of a fear of loss, that there's not enough business, when actually there's way too much business. And every person I ever worked with, they had to shrink the area because you've got to call people back, because no today does not mean no tomorrow. Let me say that again. No today does not mean no tomorrow. And in my book, I wrote that 90% of all the money that I've made in my real estate career, in my coaching career, 9 out of 10 people told me no to begin with. 90%. So if I'd only worked with those people that told me yes, I've only made 10% of the millions of dollars that I've made. Next.
Real estate is nothing less.
Real estate is nothing more, nothing less than a numbers game. Is it important that you have the numbers of people you call? Absolutely. But we don't want to call every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I said last week, we have what is called the greatest source for business. You know, some cities have their water from a lake, and some cities have their water from a river, and some cities have their water from a well, artesian wells. And some people get their water out of a well. Well, that's the purest form, directly from a well. It's pure. You don't have to filter it. Well, so many people are getting their sources of business that it's not a good source. Cold calling's not good. Just calling people randomly, calling people out of a subdivision, you used to call that farming area. And I say, if you're going to have a farm, go buy a tractor and 90 acres and have a farm. Laugh out loud. But you have the greatest source from the Lacey Way, which are expireds and force of owners, past customers, sphere of influence, circle prospecting. And if you don't know what I just said, if you've never met me, then you need to get to know me. Now, not only do I give you the greatest source of getting business, that you don't have to wait 3, 4, or 5 years for them to do business with, because an expired is going to go back on the market within 110 days. 100 to 110 days, 9 out of 10 expired is going to go back on the market, even though they tell you they're never going to sell again. For sale owners think they can sell it themselves, but if you use the right scripts and the right presentation, they will list with you. You know, I have had agents that had 100 closings a year directly from for sale owners. I've had agents that had 100 closings a year directly from expireds. Have agents now that have over 50 closings a year just from past customers, calling 5 to 10 people a day. Isn't that an incredible source? Now you may leave today saying, now I need to call expireds, now I need to call for sale owners, now I need to call past customers, but you need to have the right scripts, which we'll talk about that, I hope, before the end of on my page of top producers, what top producers think and do next.
If you're not getting listings,
If you're not getting listings, you're not contacting enough people. To get a listing, you have to get an appointment. You know, I always like to think about it. To have a closing, you need a contract. To have a contract, you need to have either the buyer or the seller. And I'll recommend sellers because he who has the listings controls the market. To have a listing, you need an appointment. To get an appointment, you need to call someone. So the more people you call, the more people you contact, the more people you follow up with, the more people you go see, the more closings you're going to have. Next.
don't focus on the task.
Don't focus on the task. Focus on the reward. Here's my reward. Here's what I visualize getting. Somebody wants to do business with me. Here's what I visualized every day for 2.5 years. Think about it. I had never had 30 closings. And to receive this, I had to have 120, which is 4 times more than I'd ever done. And I was in a market of only 240,000 people, which means there were 200 cities bigger than Spartanburg. Oh, I can't do it because I'm not in a big enough city. See, that's what most people would say. I never thought about that. I kept thinking about, I'm going to walk across the stage at the Coldwell Banker National Convention and Chandler Barton's going to hand me this. And I didn't think about there were 63,000 agents with Coldwell Banker. 63,000. But every morning I visualized walking across the stage and getting an eagle. I didn't think big enough because I only got one. They only give 40 eagles out in the entire United States. 40. Have we got it facing the right way? Mm-hmm. 40 of them. 10 for listing sold, 10 for buyer controlled sales, 10 for total units, and 10 for income. Well, I couldn't do income because my sales price was so low compared to big, large cities, rich areas. But I could in total units if I did 150. And let me speak on that a second. Most people aren't going to believe what you're capable of, especially if you've never accomplished a lot. But when you make that decision and you start focusing on that goal, the task is not hard. To me, real estate's the easiest business in the world. It requires no physical hard work. It calls mental preparation. It calls having a positive attitude. But to come in and call a few people and to leave them a message and to follow up with them and to master your presentation. See, write that down. Master your presentation. To be able to overcome all the objections a homeowner can give you. That's all it takes. See, I never focused on in the morning I got to come in and call people for 3 hours. See, in 91, I prospected an hour. In 92, I prospected an hour and a half. In 93, I prospected 3 hours. That's why I went from 27 closings to 60, from 60 to 75, from 75 to 163. I had a 5% market share in the whole MLS. 2 years later, I had a 10% market share. 1 out of every 10 closings went through my company, the Andrew Lacey Real Estate Group. Why? Because while most agents were sitting twiddling their thumbs or complaining about the market or complaining about the company or complaining, I was getting up each day excited about the market, excited about the company that I had, excited about finding someone to help. I didn't get there because I made $5 or $10 or $20 or $30. I made $100 a day in 93. or more. But what did I receive? Recognized as number 7 in the world, internationally, with co-op banker. And if I can do it, and thinking about, I had never made 50,000 in a year. And 4.5 years later, I made 987,000. And when you go, well, that's not possible today, let me surprise you here in a few minutes. Next.
You're never too
Good to practice. That's why on Tuesday mornings we practice. And every one of you should be practicing. To get better at your presentation, to get better at leaving a message, and getting better at getting appointments. What did Marie get this morning? 3 appointments. When I met Marie, she couldn't get an appointment. She couldn't get 1 appointment a month. Last week, she got 4 appointments in 1 day. That's 7 appointments in 2 days because she's mastered her scripts. She's mastered the phone. And you know what today's real estate agents try to do? Avoid the phone. They don't even answer the phone. Let me just say, well, every top producer I have answers the phone. And it's not afraid of the phone. Next.
have an
emotional goal. I looked at him like, I already know that. He doesn't understand I've been doing this 30 years. And what hasn't changed is how to be successful. Let me say that again. What it takes to be successful has not changed. The scripts have not changed. They've changed sometimes when the market changes, when the market's really hot or when the market's slowed down. It's changed when real estate companies decided to be marketing agents instead of sales agents. I used all that against them. I'm not a marketing agent. I'm a sales agent. When you hire me to do one thing. You hire me to get your home sold. I'm not out here to try to market myself and put my sign in your yard. I'm not a listing agent. I'm a sales agent. And when you hire me, I'm going to do one thing. Well, actually, I'm going to do two. I'm going to get your home sold, and I'm going to get you the most money possible for your home. You know, over 300 people signed a listing agreement in 1 year from my scripts. You need to become a master of description dialogues. Next.
We're on the top producers page now.
Okay, this is now about top producers. This is about, some of you are top producers on this call. All of you can be top producers. It's when you make the decision to come in and do it the Lacey way and not the lazy way, and do it the lazy way instead of your way. When you're ready to change and do it my way, there's no limit to what you can have and make and accomplish. All right.
There are more
Great prospects and I can possibly do business with. Think about it. There was one expired today in Spartanburg. Some days there was 0 expireds. Some days there were 1, some days were 2. At the end of the month, there was sometimes 15 because agents would put their listings to expire at the end of the month. Woo, 15. Do you know that some days in Atlanta, there are 500 expireds? There are more great prospects than you can possibly do business with. This is why you don't want to have 500. You want to have about 50 or 60 or 70 that you're calling every day or every other day. You know, I would call somebody till they listed with me or listed with another agent or died. But if they didn't do one of those 3 things, I was calling them back. Maybe that's how I got up to 163, because I called people back. Next.
no today.
Does not mean no tomorrow. What did I just say? I called them till they listed with me, listed with somebody else and died. No today does not mean no tomorrow. Is my book right there? My book. Somewhere here. Chapter 7. No today does not mean no tomorrow. And it's probably one of the funniest chapters of your life when you read it. It's in every part of my life. No today does not mean no tomorrow. You know, people give up too easily. People quit that could be millionaires because they gave up on what they could have. There's only 2 ways to fail at the Lacey way. There's only 2 ways to fail. Not to do it or to quit. You can't imagine how many people were going to quit, but they did it another year or 2 and became multimillionaires because they didn't quit. You know what happened? They got better. They got better at leaving a message. They got better at talking to someone to get an appointment. They got better at following up after they've been to the house. They got better at negotiating. They got better at listening. They got better at following their schedule. if he who is in control of your schedule is in control of your income. Every day I follow a daily schedule. After 44 years in business, the first 8 years, I didn't follow a schedule. That's why I made less than $50,000 a year. But following a schedule and doing the right things that are plugged into my schedule is what created this wealth that I have built. Next.
They only work with people.
Who want to work with, top producers only work with people who want to work with them. That's me. That's one of my number one things. I don't try to trick somebody. I don't try to twist someone's arm. I don't beg people. I have people that come to me and say, I want to work with you, Andrew. See, I want that person that wants to work with me. Not that I'm trying to beg them. Now, I am an encourager when people work with me. I try to take my hand and raise them up, get them back up and get them back in the game, encourage them, remind them of where they can, what they can become, what kind of business they can have. Next.
They call their
Past customers every 60 days. I said earlier that I have people that now have 50 closings a year just from calling 5 to 10 people a day. They're past customers. But they, for years and years and years, no one called past customers, even though it was in the workbook. It's been in the workbook for 30 years. But it was only 7 years ago, finally somebody started. Now I have many coaching people calling their past customers. And they go, this is the easiest money I've ever made. From 1996 to 2000, when I quit doing, 1995, I had 312 closings. And then I decided, I woke up one day and said, I'm going to start a company to help agents become successful. I want to change the way real estate's done. Let me share something. That's happened. But I didn't know that I was going to end up 30 years ago, that this was going to be the program that works in every market and works for every agent, no matter if you've been in real estate 1 day or 30 years. This program works in any market, in any city. It works because it's a business plan. It's a business program. What was the last one? Read it again.
They call their past customers.
They call their past customers every 60 days. So from 96, Roselle and my assistant would come to my office, this desk, and I had 4 Rolodexes in this top drawer. And she would call them and say, Andrews wanted me to call and check on you, see how you're doing, if you knew anybody needed to buy and sell. I averaged 126 closings a year from 96 to 2000 just for past customers. I'm glad a light bulb went off in somebody's mind a few years ago that says, I'm going to start calling my past customers every 60 days. You have to do it my way for it to work the best way. Next.
They have a referral.
They have a referral mindset. Let me ask you all, do you ask for referrals? All the business that's out there, all the people you trade with, do you remind them you're in real estate? Are you a secret agent, or do you let people know you're an agent? Do you pass out a card? People don't have cards today. Why? People don't tell people they're in real estate. People don't wear a name tag. I don't care if you wear a name tag or not, but you should tell everybody that you come in contact with how great the market is. And always remember, the market is either excellent, fantastic, great, or unbelievable. Next.
They do the most
important things. They prospect, present, and close. They do the most important things. They prospect. What did Marie do? Got 3 appointments this morning. They now go make a presentation to get the listing. And then they close and when they're negotiating. The most important things, PPC, prospect, present, and close. Next.
top producers visualize
and verbalize their goals. If you do not visualize each morning, and if you do not verbalize each morning your daily goal, your yearly goal, your emotional goal, you should visualize your emotional goal each morning as you're getting ready. You should verbalize your daily goal standing in front of the mirror while you're getting ready. Someone needs my help today. Someone's going to say, Andrew, come over. We need your help. We've been waiting for you to call us. I've never said to myself, people don't want me to call them. See, so many people have that mindset. No one's going to answer. No one's going to give me an appointment. No one's going to be there. No one's going to. See, I never said no one. I said everyone wants to do business with me. And I'm the best person to help them. Next.
Top producers say positive things.
Top producers say positive things to and about themselves. That's what I just said. I always say positive things to and about my business. I'm always positive. That's a choice. That's a choice you have. To be positive and negative. To come to work, not come to work. To remain the same or change. To get better or not get better. To do more or do less. These are all choices that you have. These are the things that you have control over. So many times you're trying to control things you have no control over. You can't control the economy. You can't control interest rates. You can't control buyers that back out. You can't control mortgage companies. You can't control appraisers. But you can control the things that I just talked about to get better at the basics. Next.
Top producers are scripted.
And have great diet. Top producers are scripted. You know, I am proud of beyond imagination. I'm proud beyond you can imagine of the scripts that I've written the last 30 years and continue to write. There's not a situation that can come up that I can't write a script for. God granted me the ability to do 2 or 3 things: to discern what stops a person, to discern what's going on in the world. But he gave me the ability to write scripts. I was saying the other day, there's been more than 1 million appointments set from my basic scripts. How many hundreds of thousands of closings have happened because of my presentation and negotiating skills? Next.
Top producers are incredible.
Negotiators, right?
Yes.
Top producers are incredible negotiators. Were they born that way? No. But the more you're engaged in your business, the more negotiating you're going to do. You know, you negotiate when you're doing a presentation to us. Will you lower your commission? No. That's a negotiation thing. But most people think the negotiating is between the homeowner and the buyer. But actually, everything is a negotiation in this world. That's my children. That's my grandchildren. That's my wife. Next.
Top producers follow
A daily schedule. Comes back to what we said on the first page. If you don't control your schedule, you cannot control your income. And you know, when I said every day's the key, every day's the key. I don't know if Alan's on this call or not, but you know, 10 or 12 years ago, he would prospect a few days and take a few days off. Prospect a few days and he made about 100,000. Now he makes, his average income is 360,000 the last 10 to 12 years. 360 versus 100, 3 times more, because he finally understood every day is the key to create new business, new opportunities. Next.
Top producers are good at delegating.
Top producers are good at delegating. As you start to grow, you want to bring someone in to handle your listing side. When you grow some more, you want somebody to be able to handle your closings. Now you can pay somebody to handle the closing. What you want to be doing is always filling the pipeline with new business. In a few minutes, I'm going to ask Marie, and you know, I had Marie and Jody here about a month ago. And I'm going to ask them to be on the call today and share their taps through the first quarter. How many listings they've taken, how many active, how many pending, how many closings. You know, how many agents do not know that information? They don't know how many listings they've taken. They don't know how many active listings they have. They don't know how many pending. They don't know how many they closed. I'll tell you a short story. When I was a boy, I could be in the truck. Me and Charles and Mark and my dad would ride over on the farm to look at the cows. And my dad had a full-time job as a pipe fitter. But he loved his family so much that he raised cows to supplement the income, because he didn't make, you know, for years he made less than $25,000 a year. I was thinking, here's a man that made less than $35,000 this whole year, but left $1 million estate. And how many of you will make millions and won't leave a $25,000 estate? Because you wasn't smart with money. And that's what I'm trying to teach so many of you today, to be smart with money. That's a story for another day. But my dad could look out over 25, 30 cows, and he could tell if one was missing. And that cow may have only been worth $500 to $1,000, but that was a lot of money to him. And you don't know how many listings you got. You don't know how many appointments you've been on. You don't know how many pending you have. You don't know how many you closed. And that's worth $10,000, guys. You should know your business. He knew what cow was missing. Might have been off having a calf. He knew if something was not right because he went out there and looked at his cows. Are you looking at your business? Are you focused on your business? Do I need to generate more listings? Do I need to get price reductions? See, how often do you look at your business and stop looking at the world? Tomorrow, Elaine Baker, who I've been working with 21 years, is going to pick me up because he wants to drive me to Virginia so he can have 7 hours of Andrew time. And he's called me twice in the last 4 days how excited about it is. Because see, we won't talk about the world. We won't talk about sports. We'll talk about my business and his business. How do I know that? Because he drove me to Durham when I had eye surgery. And for 4.5 hours, we never stopped talking about business. Small minds talk about people. Average minds talk about events in the world. Great minds discuss business. Yes, we have a great mind. Our minds are alike. We discuss business and how to make our businesses better. Next.
Top producers prospect.
Top producers prospect 1 hour a day. And to have 100 closings, 150 closings, you're going to have to prospect 3 hours a day. But you start with 1 hour and you go from there. This morning, if we have a few minutes, what time is it?
11:32.
Okay, let's take 5 minutes. Marie, can you come on and tell me your taps for this year through the first quarter?
Yes, sir. My taps are 22, 26, 10, and 21.
Okay, so your first number, you've taken 22 listings.
Mm-hmm.
You have 26 active.
Yes.
You have 10 pending.
Yep. And 21 closed.
21 closed. Isn't it funny that you've taken 22 listings and you've had 21 closings? What's your
Makes a
income
lot of
so
sense.
far? What's your income year to date through March?
110,000 my first quarter.
110,000. Now let's understand. When I met Marie, she was making $11,000 a year. $11,000 a year. 11,000. That's 10 times more in 1 quarter than she used to make in a year. Jody, you on the call this morning? Let's pick up with you.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Good morning. What's your
Good
tap?
morning. I've taken 46, 58 active, 19 pending, and 21 sold.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You have how many pending?
19.
19. An
Yes, sir.
average agent would not do that many in 2 or 3 years, what you've got pending right now. An average agent would not have, I think the average was around 7. So you've had 3 times more closings than an agent has in a year, and you've done it in a quarter. That's why the Lacey way is so profoundly different than everything out there, ladies and gentlemen. What do you contribute, number one? I was going to ask Marie, but I'll ask you since we're running short on time. What do you contribute your success, most of all? Not to me. What do you contribute your success to?
I mean, I've seen an increase in success since I've gone into coaching. I can share that. So I think it is, Andrew, but you're keeping me accountable, prospecting every morning, and just really, really got my scripts, my tonality, everything like it needs to be.
Yeah. You are the best. I heard you role play a few weeks ago. You're as good as I am, and I've never been able to say that about anyone in 30 years. Sherry Puffer was very good. There's some other, Nat Wadham was very good, but you are the best. I've heard somebody give you 4 or 5 objections, and you said the right sentence. I always call it that first sentence you say when someone says something. That first sentence is the most important sentence. And most people have no clue what I'm talking about. But you would have a clue if you'd let me help you. What's your income so far today?
$202,000.
That's your income?
Yes.
And so in one quarter, you've made 200,000. When I met you, you was making about 100,000?
Right.
Yeah. 200,000. Think about that. So Marie has made 110. Jody has made 200 what?
201.
201. Brad Kent's could not be on the call today. He called me right before and he was not in a place where he could be. When I met Brad, he was like Jody making 100,000. His first quarter, he told me last Thursday, his first quarter, 350,000 for his first quarter. Guys, this is real. But to most people, it seems like a fantasy. It seems like it's impossible. But see, if you do real estate the Lacey way, the right way, the only way, your income is so much greater than you could ever imagine. I called Lane a few minutes ago, and I wanted to ask him what he had made this first quarter. Hear me clearly. He's made $1 million already this year in income. He said, Andrew, I'm having the best year of my life. He said, you know, that program in December was something special. You know what Brad told me? That program I did in December is what propelled him to have the best first quarter. Because I said, go to work like it's the middle of the year. People will do business in December. Guys, people are going to do business every day with someone. Every day is an opportunity for you to make $10,000 to $20,000. Think about it. There's a person, and by the way, Marie and Jody are in the same market, and it's less than 300,000 people. Because you know why? There are more great prospects than they possibly can do business with. Have a great day. Look forward to seeing you. You need me. My personal number is 864-909-1258. Call my personal. You know what I put in my book? My personal number. That if anybody read it and had a question, to call me. Don't you want someone to call you? Well, call them today and leave them a message and leave them your personal number and answer the phone. Ciao.